we're going to go ahead and get started. As you all know, rule number 18 is limber up, so I hope you've all done your stretches to prepare for today's AMA. We do have a slightly smaller crew with us this week, as Fox, Dreamer, and Sunbear are in Singapore at token 2049, although probably at this point asleep somewhere. But the rest of us are here to answer your questions. So we did want to start with a couple of quick updates. Uh, the first one is actually from myself. That is on the birthday leveling event. We do have all of the data for the drawing. So we have compiled it, ensured that all of the proper conditions are applied, as well as triple checking it. So we will be scheduling that drawing soon, so stay tuned for that. I just got to coordinate with Sashay to find a good time for us to knock it out. As a reminder, we will be doing kind of a mega stream. We will be drawing the birthday leveling event. We will also be drawing the original old amulet snapshot from back in the day, as well as there was actually from early last year a 5 land giveaway that we have not drawn yet either. So we're going to go ahead and knock that one out as well. So stay tuned for details on that, but make sure to tune in as we will be raining prizes out amongst everyone we can. And aside from that, I know everybody is forever curious at this point about void hunts. So I wanted to turn over to Beetle Dude for an update there.
Ooh, right out the gate. Put me on the spot. I appreciate it. Thanks, Bolon. So, yeah, everyone got to go to Singapore. I got to stay here and work on void hunts. So, that's cool. I'm not bitter at all. Just kidding. I was never going to go to Singapore. Because I'm working on void hunts. So, I posted a little update internally in our Slack channels to give a quick update on how void hunts are coming. And I guess I can give a quick synopsis here as well for that. Hopefully everybody is able to see the spreadsheet and has been checking that out. It's not super granular, so we've been having discussions about maybe adding a little bit more detail in some places there. We'll see how that goes. That it takes away a little bit of time from working on it, but here's a quick update on how things are going. I guess just to clarify, void hunts is a very large feature. So just so you have some context into the very long list that I'm about to go into. But void hunts, in a nutshell, is going to include a few features that we have not had before and that we're really excited about. The biggest one, well, I guess the biggest one is probably PvE. But the second biggest one is the equipment that we'll be dropping, which we don't just need to create the equipment, the assets, the stats behind the equipment, but also have to make it functional in the combat engine, make it functional on the hero, and in their displays and everywhere else, and make it contextual to the user, what the user is doing. So quite a bit to happen there, but that will lead us to having a functional equipment system, which is very exciting. That's probably the headliner for void hunts, is that we'll have our first bit of equipment that's both functional and useful and awesome. I guess the next bit is just everything that goes along with the equipment. So there's a lot of work being done for bridging, equipping, and Fox himself has been working on that and doing a great job and making a lot of progress. There's just a lot of testing that goes into that, and we just want to make sure that everything's functioning as expected. On the combat engine side itself, I think it sounds like maybe we mentioned last week that we kind of brought a lot of that internal once the CTG was up and going. So I have been working a ton on the combat engine itself, just making some tweaks, some refactoring that's needed to make sure that it works with our code, and just adding quite a few missing class abilities and mechanics that haven't been in there now, that are now added, which is also very exciting. It feels more fleshed out, full featured, and just a ton of cool things that people probably haven't seen yet that are even implemented with the first three classes. So that will help going forward. That'll make it so that adding new classes will be a lot easier. Having all that context is going to make it super simple to get additional mechanics added. So a lot of progress there. Everything that we're doing in this whole feature is going to be building towards the next feature, which is always what we're hoping to do. So the combat engine is going to get a huge facelift and feel a lot more complete and a lot more stable as well. And then obviously, Void Hunts itself is awesome. It's going to be our first PvE offering. So the things that we haven't tackled before that this will help us, moving forward is the contract interactions between the combat engine and the contracts themselves for using hero stamina, for adding heroes, checking for equipment, all that fun stuff that we're going to need to handle for additional PvE and even PvP in the future. So that will be a big part of what's coming there. And then I guess one last thing is just all the API work that goes into in making that equipment searchable, findable, and equipable to heroes, which Pinecone is doing an awesome job with as well. So a ton of work. We want to make sure that we have enough time for combat balance testing, which we're starting here shortly, which is exciting. We've got enough abilities added that we can start doing that, which is great. That's been a long time coming, and it really feels a lot better and feels like it could be a really dynamic system. So Hubert and Workhorse have done a great job with those numbers, but we'll be doing plenty of tweaking and making sure everything feels good and that it's not too hard. Though Bolon really wants it to be very hard, and he's pushing in that direction. So you'll have Bolon to thank if it gets really difficult. So thank him in chat for me. Sorry, Bolon. And yeah, I think that's the big update. So yeah, if you don't see me in Discord a ton, it's because I'm head down nights, weekends, every minute of every day, working on boars and making them uh, kill me and my heroes. So it's really rewarding work, I guess. But yeah, that's my update. Thanks, Bolon.
Thank you.
I feel
And
like
you
that
are
was a lot.
it was, but it was good. It was a lot of good things. And you are absolutely correct. My goal is a 0.00001% win rate. So I'm just pushing hard in that direction. But to TLDR a little bit of what Beetle said, a lot of moving pieces. They are all progressing. They are all moving in the right direction. And lots of progress is being made, but this is a large undertaking and a lot of work going into it and making sure that everything is right. If you did not see, Zipper dropped a little image in the AMA voiceless chat channel, which I pinned, that can give you kind of an idea of what Beetle's been up to lately. But I did want to give an opportunity, Magnus or Hubert, if you have anything you want to add to that.
Yeah, I can hop in there. So Beetle mentioned some of this already, but I've been putting the finishing touches on the Hunts contract specifically. And then I'm also working on the mechanisms for both airdropping equipment and basically like getting an intermediate item for equipment similar to like crystals, and which then you can open it after that. And so there's a little bit of a excitement there, and the reason we're doing it that way for some items, the ones that use randomness, is because we have to make sure that randomness is secure. I'm also building it in a way that we could integrate Supra in the future if we decide to go that route and cut it down to one transaction. But yeah, that's what I'm working on this week. Just wrapping up the contracts for hunts, and then continuing down the path of working on equipment.
Very nice. Hubert, I know we had talked about maybe doing this a little bit further in, but did you want to add any context on equipment now, or you want to save it?
Um, yeah, I'm getting all distracted, and we got too many things happening at the same time as right now. Yeah, I can talk about it now, I think. And I did want to also just mention, Beatle's really been working hard, and just want to pat him on the back publicly because there were quite a few different mechanics that were not properly implemented at the time of when we kind of took over. And he's just been knocking one after the other out very quickly, and it's very impressive to see, and also very happy to see it happening because now we are deep in it on the testing and getting murdered by these boars pretty hard. I just saw Sasha do a run that I think he should share the picture he shared because it's hilarious to me, but maybe not. But it's pretty hilarious. um, yeah, so equipment. So I think one thing. Well, actually, no, Bolin, maybe we'll wait because there was that question that's kind of tied to this. So it maybe be better to bring it up then. Sorry, guys.
That'll work. Keep them on the edge of their seats. Sasha did share that photo, by the way, and it is hilarious. Uh, I love it. All right. So, I believe that is all of the updates that we have for this week. I mentioned earlier Fox Streamer and Sunbearer in Singapore. They will be back for theoretically next week's AMA, assuming nothing else comes up. But we'll get some updates on Singapore from them then. And also, one correction to my earlier announcement about the drawings. We will also be doing the Swipe Lux drawing. Thank you for reminding me of that in chat. I forgot to list that one. But yes, we will be trying to do all of our outstanding drawings so that they are fully caught up to date in one go. So we're still trying to find the threshold for breaking Sasha's mouse, and I'm pretty determined to find it one of these days. So, into some questions. This week I'm going to make it fun. I'm just going to ask Hubert questions randomly throughout instead of dedicating time to him, and that way he has to keep paying attention, and he'll never know when he's going to get called on. But first, where does development on Yellow Pet eggs currently stand, and is anyone on the team concerned with growing imbalance in the game with one profession of heroes not being able to obtain the same experience?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, I think, in general, I would say that there is a concern, as far as like having the system be balanced. But at the same time, it's just kind of the realities of our development cycle and what we prioritize. And, if we were prioritizing yellow eggs, we'd probably be much further back on the combat system. So I think our our approach right now has been to focus on that. We want to get a PvE experience out for players to experience kind of a small piece of the future of the game, whereas a higher level mining quest is just more of the same with more experience and rewards. So I think, in my opinion, I think what the path we're taking is more value added, though I do recognize that there is kind of an imbalance there and want to get that addressed as soon as we can. But it's just a matter of just our development cycle and then the amount of resources we have, and we'll get there. And it's not like forgotten or anything, but it is also a lot of a pretty big load on the art team as well to get a whole team of pets set up. So yeah, it's still a little bit of a ways out, and I guess just say we recognize and that there's that imbalance, and apologize that that's kind of how it's going to have to be for the time being. But it'll probably happen again in the future where there will be some imbalances between different classes as we get different pieces out, and even just with combat in general, with us releasing things as we have them ready. I think we'll regularly kind of have an imbalance between classes that are implemented and those that are not as well, and it's just kind of a reality we're going to have to deal with until we get all the way there. So, yeah, that's all I'll say on that.
Much appreciated. Yeah, I mean, I'll just add, and we've talked about it before, but we have to pick priorities right now, and so everything we do means that we aren't doing something else, which means we have to be very selective about what we are doing. And so there's a lot of things that we have planned, a lot of things that we are going to be doing, but got to do them one at a time or two at a time, and keep moving forward. Also, I lied. I'm going to have a series of questions for you, Bert. So, equipment enchantment slots. We recently heard about the new birthday hat equipment that will have 3 enchantment slots. Can you describe a little bit about the general idea of how one will obtain enchantments to go in those slots? Will they be from the enchanting crafting profession, looted items, maybe both?
Yeah, so it'll be kind of a mixture of both. Enchanting will be similar to any other craft in that there will be recipes involved, and in the case of enchanting, the majority of recipes are going to be uh, not actually producing a thing, but producing an effect on a thing, where you take an enchantment slot and then you put an ability into it. And the quality of that bonus is going to be dependent on the quality of the enchanter and the quality of the recipes that they have available. And those recipes will require some degree of loot of some kind. It's hard to say right now what those would be, but you can kind of expect that a lot of the I guess just kind of if you're familiar with crafting systems in general, it'll be similar to that. Enchanting in general will be utilizing a lot of kind of after. How should I say that? So like with equipment, we do have durability as a part of them. They will eventually get to a point where they can no longer be repaired. And with any piece of equipment, you'll be able to break it down into, I'll just say equipment dust for now until we decide on the official name. And so, in general, enchanting that will be one piece of the ingredients, probably in almost every case. Will be some degree of equipment dust. Will be one of the ingredients. So. Just kind of let you know about how that works. So a lot of just in making one weapon better will require that another weapon was destroyed, kind of in that regard. So
Very nice. I like it. Uh, Another question about eggs, but different eggs. How are golden eggs minted? Is it done through the vendor when people buy? And if so, does that mean that supply is unlimited if people were to keep buying them as the price goes up?
yep. So that is how it works. You can convert gold into gold eggs. Every time one is purchased, the price does go up by a pretty good chunk. And so if people were buying a lot of them, there would be quite a lot of gold that would be going into the burn bucket in exchange. So I think there is kind of a counterbalancing there that will occur. As far as how people value those eggs versus, as the price goes up, there might come to a point where people think it's gotten to where it's an even trade, and if it gets a little higher, I'm sure that people will stop buying them until it kind of goes back down. And so there's always going to be kind of an equilibrium point, and it'll be up to us to ensure that the gold eggs have a good amount of utility that makes them valuable. So that is definitely our plan, and at the moment, I don't think there's a need for us to change the way it works. I think in general, just with the game being kind of in this early stage still, until we have combat bonuses out and some more features like traveling and a few different things, like the gold egg is going to be kind of pending a lot of utility, but down the road, I think it'll be as desirable as the rest of the eggs. So.
Awesome. Got another one for you. Can we add a tournament style view in duels for players to be able to host their own tournaments and potentially even initiate the duels from a single account, like the organizer of the tournament?
Yeah, that's a good question. I have been wanting us to get a tournament system in place for a long time. It's just again another matter of priorities. And in general, I want our tournament system to be somewhat agnostic to what feature it's tied to. So in duels, that would I think the first place we would have it would be duels, since we have a full system there. But we would likely use the same infrastructure to handle tournaments, like combat tournaments and any other kind of tournament mini game we might decide is worth creating as well. And a part of that is also making it so that custom tournaments can be created as well. So I do think that will be a thing in the future. It just is a matter of getting that prioritized. And that it's a topic that I've had on my mind a lot, and we'll probably be bringing it up again once we get a little bit further down the road. I'd say come time for expeditions to be out. Probably talking about that a little bit more heavily. So, yep.
Very nice. Let's see. What are the chances of getting some official DFK blotter paper in the merch store? I will pass that on to Pi. I'm not gonna lie, I had to Google what blotter paper was, but I did Google it. And now I know. But I'll pass that on. I have no idea. I have no answer to that, but I can forward the request. Let's see. I lied. We're just going straight back to Hubert for now. Good news, Beetle. It's a light week for your list. Our
Thank God.
our expeditions plan to be gated to a profession skill level, such as must be minimum level 10 to go on an expedition. Or, actually, sorry, there's a second question expanding on that. Or is the current plan for them to be gated with a power up versus gating them in some other way, or both?
So yeah, it'll be kind of a mix of both. I think the way to think of expeditions is really being able to set up your heroes so that they're just constantly repeating the same quest and getting without needing to like have the manual steps of claiming and then resubmitting once their stamina recovers. All that would be handled by the contract. And so a level 0 skill level 0 fishing quest would still be accessible to any fisher or any hero really. But like a skill 10 quest would require that they have at least 10 skill. And there will also be power-ups involved for all of this as well. So there are power-up gating, or there will be power-up gating as well.
Awesome. Thank you much for the insight there. Let's see. Switching over to Magnus for a moment. Any plans with MetaMask Snap?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So for those of you out there that don't know what snaps are, I just heard about it recently, but basically they're like small apps, almost like a Chrome extension, but that you can embed inside the MetaMask Chrome extension, and it's kind of like sandboxed, similar to like an app on an iPhone, and you can allow it certain permissions, and it's definitely built in like a security focused way, but I haven't actually looked at what the use cases are yet, but there are definitely a lot of different use cases out there, and it's currently in beta. They have like a set of audited uh, snaps that they're going to allow first, and then they're going to open that up over time. So once it gets to the point where they're kind of like opening that snap store up, we may look into building a few things. But yeah, if there are any particular use cases you guys could see out of those, feel free to put those on the talk site. We'd be happy to take a look at them, and we'll be thinking about that as well. But yeah, definitely a cool technology, and very excited to see MetaMask adding even more functionality to their browser extension and their wallet as a whole. So yeah, really cool progress there in the Web3 space.
Definitely excited to see that continue to develop. Let's see. Could we explain the reason not to scale rewards with the difficulty of the boar challenge?
Yeah, so, and this will probably get me into talking about equipment as well, but um, the intent with the scaling of the board challenge is, as your heroes are leveling up, they are getting stronger. So we're trying with this challenge to just kind of have a close to equivalent degree of difficulty, regardless of the level of the heroes. So, I mean, while they get harder, your heroes are also harder for the boars to kill. So it kind of balances itself out. In the future, we will have more options for PvE experiences than this. This is, our first foray into it, and as we grow, we'll be adding more options, more hunts, which would have different, base difficulty levels and things like that, where the rewards, if something was intended to be targeted for level 20 heroes, for example, the rewards would be scaled, or with intent of it, that's kind of the baseline. But a lot of what we're doing right now is it's also somewhat of an experiment. This is our first iteration. We need to see what works and what doesn't work, and just felt like for this approach, with trying to keep a similar difficulty all the way up, it made most sense to just keep the rewards at the same level as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't really talk about the equipment piece I was going to talk about. So I guess, should I just jump into that real quick, Paul? Is that all right?
Yeah, here I'll even cue you up a little bit.
Cool.
The secondary part of that question was, beating level 20 boars in the boar hunt would have a better drop rate than beating level 10 to continue to encourage that higher level participation. So there you go.
Yeah, so with the way we have equipment set up, it's all been designed in a way to complement the heroes. The majority of weapons will have all weapons have a base damage that they have set for them, and then they have one or two or three stats that apply bonuses to that score, the damage score. So and the scaling can be such that you, like, if you can get your strength high enough, for example, if it's a sword, you more than double the base strength of the weapon. So, and that all kind of ties to, as you level up, you're getting more strength, you're making your weapon stronger. And same thing with like armor, it has a base defense value, but then that increases based on the endurance of the hero. And I guess also with weapons as well. And for magic and physical weapons, our accuracy system is based around dexterity. With magic, it also is wisdom and dexterity mixed. But those, having low accuracy, contributes directly to how much damage you can do. Whereas if you're leveling that up, you will, be missing far less often, which means you're doing more damage over time. So it's all kind of built around, how your heroes leveling up, you're also improving that. And because the weapons are not necessarily changing, unless you happen to get a piece of equipment that is different, the stats are really just based on you scaling up your defense and your damage with your stats. So yeah, that kind of goes into more details about how equipment works. Hopefully that makes sense. I think I've kind of talked to this in the past, but just so you know, I guess that the scaling on the difficulty is happening on both sides, just by your heroes getting stronger. So yep.
Good Lord. Eventually I'll stop hitting the deafen button and hit the unmute button instead. Sorry. Uh, yeah, thanks for adding the clarity on equipment there as well. I also wanted to add to the first part, and feel free to tell me that you disagree also if you do. But especially with this being the first one, we wanted to make sure that heroes can have a comparable experience like what Hubert mentioned, but especially, if we put it out and it was balanced to 10 right now, then heroes over level 10 are just going to blow through it, and that's not fun. That's not fun for them. It's not fun for us. It's not fun for loot drops. But if we put it out and it was balanced to 20, then everybody who hasn't power leveled their heroes to 20 yet
would be at a major disadvantage and would probably not be able to participate. So I think a lot of that comes with, the volume of experiences, like what Hubert was alluding to where you have many experiences that are all balanced to different levels so that people have, the option to go do the experience that makes sense for them. But with only having the one, we wanted to make sure that as many people could participate in a fun way as possible. And for it to be fun, it should be some level of challenging. Preferably all your heroes die while one of the boars has 5 HP left, like Sachet did. I'm sure that was a lot of fun for him. It was probably the best time of his life. But I think that's the solution. I think to a lot of what that question was getting at is as there's more experiences, they will be catered to or balanced to different levels of heroes. All right. I don't see Hubert unmuting to tell me that I'm dumb, so we're going to keep going. Let's go. Yes, it was a successful ad. Question for Magnus on the Halliday wallet. So, since it does not have a seed phrase, what would happen if Halliday were to go down? Can you still access your funds in one of the smart contract wallets?
Yeah, so there are a few different layers to this. Basically, the Holiday Wallet is a smart contract, like previously mentioned, and it's kind of like a clone of their kind of like base contract they have. So whenever you create a new one, you get your own clone of that, and then there's a signer on that contract, and that signer has to be an EOA, an externally owned account, like a MetaMask wallet. But or something along those lines. By default, that is that key is held in Web3 auth. They're a provider for essentially signers, and I'll drop a link on how Web3 auth works. But essentially, it's like a uses multi-party computation. So there are I believe they use 5 of 9 different shards of the keys, and as long as you can get five of those 9. You can still access your wallet, there's also like a great deal of infrastructure and auditing and things like that go into their whole ecosystem for Web3 auth. So I guess that's the default setup, and for new users and for kind of like a speedy onboarding process. That's the signer that's backing the Holiday wallets. However, in the future, I forget which phase that's going to be, but there's 2 different things that are allowed. There's going to be signing with a MetaMask wallet, and so you can basically progressively decentralize it as you go along while still keeping that same Holiday smart contract, so you can onboard with Web3 auth, and then if you want to move it to a MetaMask wallet or eventually even a Ledger or another hardware wallet, you can do that. And so you can kind of like plug and play the signing solution that you want if you want to kind of like hold your own keys and whatnot, and not trust Web3 auth, even though they're well vetted and very secure and reliable, which both Holiday and our team have looked into it as well. There's kind of a quick onboarding path for that, and then a way to progressively decentralize if you decide to go that route as well. It basically all comes down to what you feel most comfortable with as the signer for that Holiday wallet. But all that is to say, the Holiday wallet is implemented as a smart contract, and as long as you have access to that signer, you can still submit transactions through some means, even if the Holiday API were to have issues or go down.
Thank you. Let's see. We had one more question that slipped in during the AMA. Will party hats have durability?
They do, yes. Party hats. I just mentioned durability is not going to be subtracting for at least until we have a repairing system in place. So anything that's equipped for the short term is going to be as if it has infinite durability. So you can enjoy using it without worry for now. But that will eventually change, and we'll have a lot more to say about the repairing system and different aspects of it as we get closer to it being ready. But for at least the short term, I think we'll have it'll be the way it'll be with unlimited durability. But yes, the hats are considered a piece of equipment, and essentially every piece of equipment has durability tied to it. So, yep,
Which would also include amulets, correct?
that also includes amulets, which are
Yeah.
quite good, by the way.
Just gonna leave us on that, huh? All right. See how it is.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, yeah, that is all of the questions that we had submitted. So I'm going to give 60 seconds. If anybody has any questions that they want to throw into the AMA questions chat or the AMA voiceless chat, I will snag them, and then we will go into our wrap up. So ask now or forever hold your peace. Let's see. Win silly axolotl merch. I believe Pi said she was going to work on some of that. Where did the team learn game design? There you go. Hubert, you want to chime in on anything there?
Oh man. Yeah. So I think of the team members, there's probably others on the team who have more direct experience with game design than myself. I'm an engineer by trade, and with this game in particular, we have so many different technical issues that we have to resolve that I feel like I'm able to utilize the skills that I have very well. Plus, just being a lifetime gamer and having, I guess, just being who I am, I feel that uh, I have enough experience and I guess technical know-how to help navigate some of these things. But we do also lean heavily on others on the team who have more experience, like Second Best Dad has worked on other games in the past, some that are very successful. And he has a lot of really helpful input as we develop. Workhorse, he's not here to talk, but he also has his own experiences in the past of working around and with games, and brings his own unique flavor of design when we're designing all the classes and the systems together. So I think that has been very good. And then Beetle, I think you probably have some things you could say as well. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I've always that's always been my goal, is to be a game developer. I've released 4 or 5 smaller games just on itch, a few mobile games, and just kind of, I don't know, I just enjoy it. This experience has helped grow quite a bit, and having Hubert along with all of his maths makes my job a lot easier even. And like you mentioned, SBD as well is quite a few years of experience, direct game development experience. So he's a huge help as well, and obviously he makes amazing art, so that helps. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
Are you saying that SBD is a man of many talents?
He is. Don't let him hear this. He doesn't. He
Yeah,
won't
now you have
listen.
to
It's
insult
fine.
him to balance it out.
Yeah, he's also a jerk, but he has a lot of talents.
SBD, your doodles take too long. Let's see. Win bloater poker mini game. Any thoughts?
Loader poker.
I will say, I don't know if I should give this away. Maybe I
Ooh,
shouldn't.
I don't know what it is, so I don't know how I
Me
feel
either.
about this.
I've seen
What's he
some.
gonna
I've
say?
seen some SBD prototypes of Bach,
Ah.
Kickbach. I'm just saying. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yes, I do support that. Let's see. Ooh, here's a good one. Win anti-decay enchantment.
That's an interesting one. I guess we'll see.
Let's see. When can we buy beer at the tavern and burn gold? That's a good one. Got to get our heroes drunk.
give him like a attack boost with an accuracy debuff, something like that.
There we go. Yes, I like it. Let's see. When next dark summoning event? We don't have anything planned at the regularly. Not that it can't happen again. If anybody wants to add anything to that, feel free.
I don't know if it was just me, but you cut out kind of in the middle of what you were saying, so I didn't actually hear.
Same.
Oh, my bad. I was saying that for dark summoning events, we don't plan on doing it super regularly. Not that it can't happen again, but it's not something that we have recurring plans on.
Right. Yep. I think stay tuned for our next event. I think once we get the void hunts set up, there may be some things tied to that we will want to try to do, but yeah, I'm not sure. We haven't really been talking too much about a dark summoning event recently.
When no more wins, I think I can safely say never. Let's see. Next Crypto Gem watch party in DFK Discord as soon as streaming rights cease to exist. I would actually love to. I wanted to. I gave it a lot of thought, but there's no way we're going to do it without getting our Discord shut down for copyright violation. So, unfortunately, that's where that one stands. When is pizza a sandwich? Serious debate. There's no debate. Pizza is a sandwich. It's an open faced sandwich, which is a recognizable category of sandwich.
I take issue with this, but
I knew I wasn't going to get away with it. I was waiting for you to unmute.
oh, it's a hard argument to make. Everyone's not sure on the definition. It seems like your definition, though, is pretty much the entire world is a sandwich because bread is touching something that's touching something else that's touching you. So even you are a sandwich. So
Only if the bread is holding it together, or really any starch. But if the starch is a key component to the composition of the food item, it's a sandwich. I don't know.
I like the I am a sandwich take. That's my new take. I am a sandwich.
I also support
you
that take.
sandwich, you have sandwich inside you, which is an open face sandwich all the way of you.
Oh no, I'm a hot dog now.
Oh.
Calzone. Excuse me, calzone.
Let's see. So one last one, and then we will go into actual wrap up. But this was a lot of fun. I'm glad we did. We got some good questions. With the durability concept, will items/equipment just be burned, or will the items just become unusable until they are repaired to a usable status?
Yeah, so we haven't fully decided on that, but I think the latest that we are all leaning towards is that it would just go to 0 durability and become unusable, or if it's equipped, it would be considered not equipped essentially. So if it was your weapon, for example, you'd switch to kind of the default weapon that every hero has, which is going to be much worse than an equipped weapon. People will need to be aware of when their durability is getting low and take care of that, or plan to switch their weapons to something else afterwards. There will also be a limited number of repairs available for every piece of equipment as well. So it will get to a point where it can't be repaired anymore.
When it gets to that point, would it then be burned, or could people still keep it like as a memento?
It could be kept, and I don't know that we've talked about automated burning, but it is a little bit tricky to do that. There's kind of some issues there, so I think we've been leaning more towards it would just become kind of a useless thing, and there'd be encouraging things for you to break it down into dust. Though there may also be benefits to doing that before it gets to completely unusable states. I think we'll likely have you'd be able to get more if you dusted it earlier than later. Yeah.
Which I believe also answered the follow-up question of once it's beyond repairable, can it still be scrapped for materials? So apparently, yes.
Yep, that's the plan right now.
Nice. Awesome. Well, this has been a super productive AMA. I very much appreciate, as always, everybody who listens, everybody who's up here answering questions, and everybody who submits questions, including our rapid fire random question segment, which is always a lot of fun. So with that, don't ape into broken mechanics. But aside from that, I just want to say I really appreciate you guys. We have a fantastic community, and it's always a good day to be in the kingdoms. And we would not be able to do it without you guys. So thank you much for being here and being our supporters throughout all of this. Let's see. I don't know. Well, what order should we go in? I think Hubert needs to bullish us. So Magnus, any final thoughts?
Yep, just heads down grinding this week, trying to get stuff out. That's my thoughts. Just working hard.
Can't think about anything else, right? That's a good thing. Beetle Dude?
Yes, sir. What to say? I don't know. I'm very. Dang, I need a new word. I'm stoked. I'm just gonna say it. I'm stoked about all the stuff that's coming with the Void Hunt release. I know it's taken a little bit of time, but that's not unexpected for the amount that's going into it. So I'm just really excited for everyone to get their hands on it. I think it's going to be a very fun experience, even if it involves getting murdered numerous times by boars. But just everything together, it's going to open the door to a lot of great things. It's been super fun working on some real gameplay, and I'm excited for whatever is coming next. And I appreciate everybody's patience and for being an awesome community as always. And your favorite sandwich choice was correct, Bolon. It is a Philly cheesesteak. I was right. Or a French dip. I don't know. One of those.
But see, some would argue that a Philly cheesesteak isn't a sandwich because the bread isn't split, and that's just insane. That's just that's just nonsense.
True. Let's say we'll say thrilled. That's a good one. Thanks. Hope. Thankful. Thrilled.
Hope is our in-chat thesaurus now.
Those is thrilled to bits. I like that one.
Ooh, that is a good one. Yeah. Radiating joy. Ooh, no, enthusiastically elated. I was enthusiastically elated to be here for this AMA this week. That's solid. Jovial is also one you don't hear very often. Anyway, last but not least, Hubert.
I am agog and zestful with our progress. Some of those I don't think really work so well, but it's really been exciting. These past few weeks have been a lot of stuff going on in the background. We're getting the combat system in a good place for the void hunts, making sure that all the mechanics are set up the way we want them to be, and also just working towards improvements that won't necessarily be in there right away with the initial launch, but we have coming in terms of like UI upgrades and things like that. It's just really exciting to kind of finally be getting to this point where so long we've had a fairly limited gameplay available. So I'm super agog about that. And oh man, it makes me think of something from a Monster Hunter game, Act of Gogmazios. Anyways, sorry for the aside. It's really exciting, guys. There's a lot coming, and really looking forward to being able to get that out. And I shall channel my inner Pinecone and say, "Bullish!" Thanks, everyone.
Bullish.
Bullish. Thanks, everybody.
See y'all next week.
Go be a gog. Bye.